Welcome everybody to episode 58 of New Game Experience. My name is Juan Paulini and I'm sitting here with the one and only Cristian Caroli.
What's
How are
up,
you, my
everyone?
friend?
I'm back. I'm back. It's been last 2 weeks has been a pain in the ass. I had a flu, and the past 17 days they just have been crazy. Well, not crazy. I'm fucking exaggerating. Just like I just had a flu. It was terrible. It wasn't COVID. I think I still have a test over here. So yeah, I'm back negative. Bunch of them I did. So it's all good.
It's all good. You're keep making sure you're good and healthy. That's pretty
Staying
good.
healthy.
Everything.
And we have a good episode today.
We have a great episode. This one is a little bit along with a fever because of the temperature. We have hot takes. This is an episode that I was inspired a couple of episodes ago when I had another guest here who he brought a lot of hot takes, and I was like, okay, I think hot takes are interesting. I don't know if you agree, Cristian, but I mean, like,
I like them, but I have the tendency to think that they're not the ones you have there. Some of them are pretty hardcore, but usually you see like people saying like hot take, and they're just kind of like articulating a valid opinion, just in the shape of a hot take, and then it's like it's not that hot. But there are a few here that are just like, damn.
yeah, I think I made the mistake of showing them my cards too early to you because I haven't seen yours. I mean, I know you included them.
I don't have that many. I don't have
Okay,
that many, but I think I can go at length.
Okay, that's great.
I'm just gonna add another one here.
The thing about hot takes, I just saw it. Okay, we'll get to that. But the thing about hot takes is I don't know. I think it's kind of like a morbid social thing where we think we have a special opinion and we want to share it so that we make everybody mad. But I don't know. And the thing with you is that I mean I imagine this is the episode that's gonna break the streak. But every time I bring a hot take, you agree with it. So it's like, oh, okay.
There are a few here, and I'm like, what the fuck? This is surreal.
It's gonna be fun.
Is this an opinion?
It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. Okay, so I thought that just like we've done in the past, we can go like one of yours and one of mine. So let's start with you. Give me one of yours.
Mobile games suck.
Okay.
Mobile. Am I coughing again? Really?
It's back.
It's back. Mobile games suck. All of them. I can't save a single fucking mobile game unless it's a PC game first. All of them suck. They all have a superior non-mobile game out there, and they suck. They're all pay to win bullshit, including every single Clash Royale Supercell game out there. They're pay to win bullshit. I'm sorry, if you have to grind a game for 3 months or pay $500, they're paid to win. Like, I don't even know how people don't fucking get it. I hate them.
You know what? I think this is one of those where we're not even gonna fight because I mean I totally agree. I mean I've never ever played something on mobile that I think was especially worthwhile, or I mean not at all. I mean when they sort of like in maybe 2013 when it was kind of novel, maybe I fell in with one or two, but it's not like I remember it with a lot of special, not at all.
So I have played a lot of Supercell games, and I have to say that the first week of playing any Supercell game, it's really, really good. Those games are great. But then you either pay or your skills are shit. Like, it just doesn't matter. You will go fight an opponent that paid, and they fucking trash you. They slap your chicks. They just obliterate you because they paid, not because they're better, not because there's a skill gap. They paid. It's just that. So yeah, fucking horrible. I don't like it. It brings the worst in me when when I talk about mobile gaming, because I think that that's one of the things where Apple Arcade is doing kind of like a good job. They have all these games that some of them are like, none of them are free to play. Like you pay your subscription and then you can play them, but then you realize that that you know that this is just like double A bullshit. Like the triple A games are just gonna be free to play, and I just fucking hate it.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And by the way, I think we kind of need to make a quick distinction. I mean, there are games that are normal games, let's say, which have mobile versions, and those are wouldn't be the ones I mean. Like for example, you told me that the Pathless can be played on iPad,
Yeah,
and so I wouldn't consider that a mobile game per se. You know,
me neither. Me neither.
Okay, cool,
And I think it would be played better with a controller, most likely.
100%.
So we have so I guess that's kind of like the category.
Okay. Well, I think it's a good take. It's a good hot take to start with because it's not hot that hot, so we can kind of write the temperature as we go.
It's gonna get hotter.
I think so, and maybe very quick because my first one, I don't know if it's gonna be very controversial with you because I saw you making a comment in our group earlier.
It will, because you're saying it. You say it.
I'll say it. Okay, so I think that GTA 3, Vice City, and San Andreas, which are games that are, by Rockstar, the beginning of the sandbox genre, I think they played like shit even when they came out. Like that is my hot take. And this is especially kind of timely because it's just come out, the GTA trilogy, the definitive edition, which is getting hammered by people because it's supposedly horrible, and I don't really even want to try it because I don't care. And I remember back in Caracas, I played all of these games because that it was impossible to be a gamer and not encounter these games in one way or another. And I played each of them for a while, maybe even hours. Or I mean, it's not like I never played them, but I just felt like the shooting was so bad. And even at that time, and I was like a little kid, I wasn't like a expert or anything, even though I did have my probably 100 hours at that point. But I don't know. I just felt that these games sucked, and and
Just like that.
Yeah, the first GTA that I finished and that I think was decent was the fourth one. So well, not the fourth one, GTA 4.
Yeah.
Because that would be the fourth. And then the DLCs was amazing, and then it came to the 5, which was also pretty cool. But I don't know. These games just I never finished any of them.
You're wrong.
Even at that time, I just didn't like them. So yes, you think I'm wrong.
I think they look like shit, but we all knew. Like we were all like, imagine if these games look good, and then the fourth one came out and it looked good, and we were like, oh, fucking finally. I think the animations were horrible. There were things that we just haven't figured out, and they were very awkward. Like the whole property ownership thing, like you could own businesses and stuff like that in Vice City, which is just ridiculous. And some of the weapons were very OP. Like it was a poorly balanced game. But I think that Vice City was great. Like the radio stations were great, the music was great, the style was great. It was something kind of like of a genre. That's how I take it. But like the fact that he played like shit, I don't know. Like there were things that I like. The driving was always good in this franchise. Like the driving was always kind of like absolutely on point. The chases, kind of like, I always had fun. I understand that some points was kind of like a little bit broken. But I don't know. I don't think I would hate them. Especially, I would say something. San Andreas was overloaded as fuck. Like the fact that you could like gain weight, lose weight, get tattooed, like ride bikes, go to the pool, like go to the strippers. Like it's just like, what the fuck? Like, and they trimmed a lot of that. But like that one is the most overloaded game that I ever played. It was just ridiculous. And some missions asked you to do that type of shit, and it was just so fucking stupid.
Yeah, I think that what I mean is not maybe not the driving, because I
don't hold back.
No. I'm gonna give it to you. I just think that the driving, like I've never been a fan of cars, not even when I was a little kid. So the driving never really impacted me that much. I think it was the shooting, and the shooting is something that I think it was the biggest step up that they did in
Mm.
4, because before it was like, it was like it was just so bad. I don't know.
It
I
didn't
hate it.
feel, yeah. I think like that wasn't as fun, but they, I think you still had cover mechanics on San Andreas,
Did
right?
you? I think you kind of crouched, but it was not like
It
you
wasn't as
didn't stick
seamless,
to
yeah,
it. I
yeah.
think.
So
I'm
the
not
fourth
sure.
one was definitely like such a ramp up that it's almost impossible to understand how better it was. Like it was just better. It was just
Crazy.
incredible. Liberty City looking better than anywhere in the world. It's just great. Uh, but like for the, I would say the GTA 3, it was kind of like a product of its time. I really don't want to play it again at all. Like I don't give a shit. Like there's nothing there. Like it just, you see the cinematic when it begins, and it's just like an old game. It's just like they steal a bank, and even though you get to know more about the story, it's just kind of like such a weird point to start kind of like any game. So, and then it's just, I don't know, it's just weird.
Yeah, I agree, because for example in Vice City you have the city, which I do agree that the aesthetics is cool. I love the 80s songs. You have Ray Liotta, so it's got a lot more going
He
for it.
has, yeah, he had Ray Liotta being the protagonist. That's a big thing. Like Ray
Exactly.
Liotta was very big as an actor and still is. So it was pretty legit casting.
100%, 100%. So I do give it what like the respect it deserves.
Hmm.
So let's go back to you.
I
Wait.
think that console wars kind of makes sense.
Okay.
Like,
Elaborate, please.
uh-huh. Like I think that I totally understand them, and I think that we should hold these fucking companies accountable. But if you can only afford one, I understand that to some extent you become kind of like an enthusiast of that one. I guess that's what I would say.
Okay. I think. I mean.
When
I
you're a
think.
kid, when you're a kid, when you're a kid. If you're an adult, just buy the other one, dude. But I think that when you're a kid, it kind of makes sense that you have to stick with one and kind of like embrace it.
Cristian, I don't want to add anything, because the way you framed it was so genius that I think if I say anything, it's just gonna make it worse. You know.
It is, it is, yeah. But that's kind of like how I frame it. But I do remember like when I was kind of like, there were like a few back in the day. People used to play a lot of Xbox, um, and I think they even had like really good games. Like I think that Gears of War was kind of like, if you like Gears of War, you like the Xbox. That was kind of like the attached branding that they did, and it was kind of cool to like have, because I do believe that consoles should have an identity. So in a way, I think that they make sense, because like if you have a Nintendo and then you have Nintendo games and they're like in a Nintendo console, then you have like a very specific audience that is hard to disappoint. But if you have something like, and I think the same thing happens with PlayStation, and I think that the reason why Xbox had such a streak past generation was because they didn't have any games. That was it.
100%. Yeah.
Like they didn't have any games, so it made no sense to be an Xbox enthusiast until very recently. But now it makes sense. It makes sense to be like, I really love Xbox. They give you free games, and and then that creates competition. So if there were no console wars, if everyone was just like, I'm going to buy 3 consoles every 9 years, then there would be the same console. So I think that they kind of make sense. But I will never be one of those soldiers.
Exactly.
That's,
You appreciate that it exists, but you would never take part in it.
I profit on the war, but I do not engage with any other with any
Wow.
political movements. That's kind of
You
how
know
I see
what?
it.
That's kind of genius. Like, you're a console war profiteer.
A console, exactly. How is it like a weapons dealer
Exactly, like a weapons dealer.
for consoles for the console wars? So that's kind of how I see it. I and I think that's kind of like what makes it even more competitive, and that why they put so much effort into like having their own events and shit.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I mean, I think that the PS4 generation was PS4 Xbox One was really really good for Sony, but if that streak had gone on too long, I think that Sony would have maybe been a very arrogant company, and I think they are now. However, having such a good competition on Xbox's side is kind of make me evening things out a little bit
I
for
think
them.
if they do a really good VR headset and they invest really well there, they could elevate the experience of having a PS5 to a whole new level.
Yes.
But I think that what's most likely going to happen is that they're gonna release kind of like a PS5S or something like that. I think that that could be what one ends up happening, but I'm not sure. Probably they
Okay.
just don't do that, and you have a fucking fridge of a PS5 under your TV, and that's it.
Yeah. Also, we know there are already plans for a PS5 Pro. I think there's a channel called Moore's Law that focuses on like PC and the tech side of the consoles, and they've already like had rumors of that, and it makes sense because that's what they did back in the
But
PS4.
it has to happen. Like that,
Yeah.
it's just a matter of time. It's the same thing for the Switch Pro. We have new phones every year, but we don't have new consoles every year, and we're at a point where like we could do that. Like just especially with the Switch.
Exactly.
But I think it makes sense. Like if they were to make like a better version, like and in 2 years to make another one. That the idea that we're just gonna have like one console forever, it's just outdated. I think.
Oh yeah, 100%. That doesn't make any sort of sense. Okay, my friend, it's back to me, and I think other than the GTA one, which I know it's gonna maybe piss off some people, this may be the other one that pisses the other part of the let's say demographic,
The
which is
rest of the children,
the Nintendo, yeah, the children, the man children out there,
exactly.
and it is that I think the Wii totally sucks. I hate
Wow.
the Wii. I think it's I mean I know that it was the most profitable or one of the most profitable for Nintendo. So I know Nintendo is never going to agree with me on this. But I, as a gamer, as far as the games go, as far as the Wii, as far as the motion controls go, the tech, I think it was like horrible, horrible. I mean, I was a Nintendo almost fanboy from Super Nintendo, Nintendo 64, GameCube. I loved every minute of it, and then here comes the Wii, which has, I think, if I'm not mistaken, maybe like 1% more capability, like tech capability as the GameCube. But now it has this freaking motion control, which I didn't give a shit about. Like I didn't care. I know that a cousin of mine bought it, and so I kind of was tangentially connected to it. And he was like, "Oh, there's this game called Red Steel. You have to play it. It's a shooter, and then you do
It's
sword
terrible.
stuff. It's horrible. It's a horrible game.
And
Horrible.
also, they had the one that was black and white, and it was also an exclusive Mad City or something
Ma-
like that. I don't.
Mad World. Mad
Mad
World.
World.
I
That
that one
that
I
was
will make
good.
a
That one was
case
good.
for. That one was good. Yeah, I like that game
But it would
because
have been just as good in any other console, and even
exactly.
better. I don't think it sucks, but I understand that its goal was never to be kind of like a PC Master Race contender. It was just it had the gist of the controller, which back then was just good. It was just like what people wanted, and they didn't know. And I think that it had a few good games, but it had so many bad games. And you know when was bad when they tried to do the I think it was for Call of Duty that they added motion controls to Call of Duty. Like if you throw a grenade, you could use the joystick, shit like that, and that was so bad. That was terrible.
Horrible.
Um, but I think that in general, I wouldn't agree. You know, like I wouldn't say it sucked. I would say that it wasn't for game. It was for kids. Again, it was
Yeah.
just to have fun, just to have it in the house. And I don't think you know what I actually think that the Wii U was so disappointing as the next gen iteration of this that that's kind of like the reason why we see the Wii and we say like ah this fucking thing sucked. But it was I think it was mostly because they kind of like lost their grit there, you know.
Yeah. I mean, I know that, as I said, I mean, I know that for Nintendo, what really, 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 really matters is the sales, and this one just
Mm.
blew it out of the park, or however the saying goes. However, I mean, very, very selfishly, the reason why I say this is I think it has the first party lineup that, like, the worst first party lineup in any Nintendo console. I mean, We do have games. I'm gonna make the case for the ones that I do like, which are like Skyward Sword. I love that game. Silent Hill: Shattered Memories, which is not first party, but I like. I love that game. Super Mario Galaxy 1 and 2. I know they're really, really good. They're not my favorite Mario at all. I like Odyssey more. I like even Sunshine more. And I'm sorry, that's just me. Metroid Prime 3, I thought was great.
That one was the first person, right?
Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
And it had cool things with the motion thing. So
That's
I
what
like
I was
that.
gonna say. I remember like playing that one and finishing it and being like, this is really the most powerful that this console is gonna get in every single possible degree of creativity. I didn't like the map in the sense like I don't remember being very lost most of the time in that game, but probably it's just me, and then I was kind of a kid. That doesn't help. Um, and I think that you also have Donkey Kong Country Returns in the list, but then
Oh,
again, I think
yes.
that that's a game that you could have played like in any other
Yeah.
device. So
It was like a, yeah, like a 2D thing. Yeah, totally.
yeah, yeah. I think that it's kind of like unfair to compare Nintendo consoles with the other consoles to some extent. Like I understand they're in the same market, but they just are like built different. I don't know.
100%. Yeah, no. When I'm drawing the comparison, I'm kind of drawing the comparison with their own other consoles. I mean, because I do agree that they don't offer the same at all. Like this is the console actually where you could start to say that, because back in the GameCube and 64 days, everything was a little bit more spread out. Like
Yeah,
third party support was kind of even throughout all the consoles. Here, whenever you knew that there was a Call of Duty or X-Men's Origins or Wolverine, I think also had a Wii version, you knew that the Wii version was total crap. Like it was guaranteed. There was no possible way that the Wii version was better. Impossible. And this is where it started. And we see that in the, I mean, we see that in the Switch a little bit. However, it's a little better in the Switch in the fact that when you know that Doom Eternal is coming, you know that it has less graphics, but the game is still the same. Here, they changed the whole mechanics of the game.
yeah.
Like it
To
was
fit
an
it in the
entire
motion
different thing.
controls. Yeah.
Exactly. And it was so bad, like horrible.
It's still I find
And
those downgrades massively ridiculous. Like it just it becomes unplayable. I'm sorry.
I
Like
agree. I
maybe I'm
agree.
spoiled, but like when I see my friends playing Fortnite on a Switch, I just like my eyes bleed. Like and it's a game that it really looks good, it really runs good. And I think the same thing would happen to me. I would go insane if I had to play like Doom at 30 frames per second. Like I can barely play that game. It gives me headaches. Like it's just too much. It's just too much. It's just like I can't. I'm sorry. I think what we talked about is when I gave it a try. I was just like it's every sense I have, it just gets stimulated at the same time. It's like stop it. I don't want to.
yeah, it's
I don't
it's
want to
it's
see
it's
more.
it's a lot. It's a lot to
Yeah,
take in. But
yeah.
yeah, I think those are my reasons. I forgot to mention No More Heroes 1 and 2, which I think are really, really great games.
Mm.
However, the rest, it's like burn it all.
It's no
Burn.
nostalgia.
100%.
Uh,
Also, I do have to give a shout out to the Virtual Console and then pull the shout out because they don't support it anymore. So, okay, back.
and mine. This one's not. I don't know if it's a hot take, but I just want to say, and some people, some freaks would probably disagree. Sex in video games is cringe. There's not a single instance of sex in a video game where I haven't been like, "What the fuck are these nerds doing?" Like
I have one.
which one?
Last of Us Part 2. I thought
It
that
was
the
for
sex.
no. I was like, like we like in the one Ellie and her girlfriend, or
Uh,
the second one,
no,
the one with
that
Abby.
one. That one.
I
Oh no,
thought
no.
that.
The Abby one was weird. No,
Oh,
I
I was
mean
like, they're
I
gonna
mean
fuck right now. They're gonna have sex. This is
yeah,
happening.
yeah,
And then I was like,
exactly.
okay, they're not. The camera is not going anywhere. Okay, here we are. Let's fucking go. And I think that the beginning was like, it's not like it wasn't unnecessary, but I was like, what the fuck, like this is not. I don't know. And I think that even there is like, I would say it's the best sex achieved in video games.
Yeah,
Um,
which is
Probably
weird to say, but
they're
yeah.
taking the advantage of like people that play games don't really know much about it. They're like, that's how it is. so where he goes to sex. Okay, um, but in games like Mass Effect and The Witcher
Oh,
3, like other than the anecdotal value, it's just cringe. It's just like really,
totally
this is
cringe.
how it's played out. And in The Witcher 3 is even more fun because it's just like you go for the dialogue tree and you're like, okay, I'm obviously getting laid here, just like oh, and then when it happens, just like this montage of things happening, and then you have like 30 solid seconds of just awkward shit, and it's like why,
Yeah,
like
it's
other than trolling, it does not make any sense. Like it does not convey an emotional connection. It actually like takes you out of the game. It's just bad to have it. Like it's like bunk too horny. Get the fuck out.
100%. I agree. The only case that I will make for The Last of Us, and I do have to specify, not the Abby one. That one was really weird. The Ellie and what's the name of this? Her girlfriend, Dina.
Mm.
Abby and Dina. It was the first time in a game. So every time we've seen a kiss in a game, I always think that it's two models kind of like doing this, and it
Yeah.
looks like two dolls. Here, it was the first time that I saw a kiss in a video game where I believed the kiss.
Yeah.
And of course, this
And
has to do
when
with,
she takes off her shirt later, also it's like, oh my god, they're taking off
yeah,
their shirts and shit like that. That was good, but again, I don't want to go like all Jimquisition on that, and be like that's the effort of extra hours and shit.
mm,
But it's like an overkill. Like it's one of those instances where it's like it's just like this is a lot. Like sometimes they're really good when they do the overkill in The Last of Us 2. And I think that in this case it was like a bit too much several times. It's like, what's the point? But that's me again. Like that's why it's like a hot take. And horny games is just like a no. I was chatting the other day in the Telegram group that we have. The what was the name? Wildlife. There's like an RPG sex game where basically the whole game is to have sex with like animorphic like characters and shit like that. It's
oh,
super
like
explicit,
animals, like furries.
like furries, like yeah, like your
Oh,
lion heads and shit like that, and you basically just go out there and like and you click different buttons to be in different positions, and like the physics and everything is just so fucking ridiculous, and it's just that's a game. And apparently like some of the developers are like super talented and they're really working on that really hard because they are fucking horny. And it's like a massive project. It has thousands of dollars every month. I'm gonna check it like right now on Patreon. Wild, is it wildlife? Yeah. So I think they have the number. Um, do they still have it? Yes, they have. Oh my fucking god! They have almost 13,000 patrons, and they make $100,000 every month.
wow,
It's
that is
insane.
crazy.
And if you see the videos that they post, it's like jokes.
Well,
It's jokes.
talent, no talent, horniness grabs everybody, and sometimes in
No,
very weird ways.
it is what it is.
It is what it is. So I'm gonna go with my next hot take, which let's see how you feel about this one. This one is also related to Nintendo, or a little different from the Wii, although it's kind of related as well. So I think that Nintendo should stop making hardware and should be bought by either Xbox or Sony or anybody else that wants to buy them. I don't care
Okay.
who it is. I just don't want them to continue to make decisions like the Nintendo 64 emulation, the Switch OLED, the not making the Switch Pro yet. Like I don't want them to. I want them to make games. I want them to have all the resources. So maybe Microsoft will be better, but I don't really care anyhow. I want them to have 100% resources and no decision at all about the ecosystem or the infrastructure that it's going to inhabit. That is my dream because I have this love-hate relationship with them where I love these games. I'm playing The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword right now. I'm enjoying it so much, but then I have to deal with the fucking Joy-Cons, which are the worst. And it's like, please free us from this plastic prison. What do you think?
I don't know. I don't know about that. I'm brainwashed, so I don't see a world where these franchises and these IPs they have to compete with real games. Like it just, I always say that if not Breath of the Wild, but like if other Zelda games were released as random games, they would at most get an 8.
That's a hot
In
take in
most,
itself.
you know, that's not taking itself. Like most of those games, like you release a Mario game and you don't call it Mario, and people will be like, "Whoa, this game is really good. I should show it to my kid," and it would be kind of like Box Snacks. It just like that's that. That's that. Box Snacks or Astro Phone Room bullshit. Like it just those are Mario games, and like people don't even consider them for like game of the year, let alone game of anything. You know, it's just, and I think that that would be the same treatment. I think that maybe Zelda games will be a bit different, but it's impossible to measure them without their like the baggage of like decades of
Yep.
evolution. So
Yeah, but let's grab like because we're talking about like the pillars. Let's grab other ones. Like
so
let's grab Splatoon. Like that wouldn't have never had
no,
succeeded. Never.
and Smash Brothers as well. Like I think that Smash Brothers the arena only made sense because he had like this multiverse of characters for from the same company, which today is just like Fortnite. Is like what okay, we don't give a shit. You know, like we'll literally model anyone and put it here from Travis Scott to Kratos to Naruto to Rick and Morty. Like we don't give a shit. Um, so they're beyond that. I don't know. Like it's hard to measure like how it would feel like because then I don't know why these games exist. Like I understand they exist for the sake of this hardware and it's kind of like a full blown experience, but just like being able to play them on a PlayStation, I don't think they would be able to compete as massively as they are competing right now because now it's just kind of like an ecosystem. And
Yeah.
also, it's the
No.
only place where you can buy them. Like, if you could play these games anywhere, you wouldn't probably buy a Nintendo Switch.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. No, no. I mean, in my ideal scenario, it wouldn't exist. No, it would be part of whatever other company, and I'm totally okay with that. I don't care.
Okay, my other hot take: Japanese games are just better. All of them. Like, I don't give a shit. All of the Japanese games, if they have kind of like an American counterpart, the American counterpart is barely functional, and the Japanese games are just better. Like I don't even know. I don't even want like the like any game that you can say. Probably there's a Japanese game that is just better behind it. At some point, you probably thought it wasn't true, but then you were just a teenager, and then you grew up, and you're like, yeah, like what we're talking about, like GTA never happened within a Japanese game. I think like you can still play the Final Fantasies and be like, oh, this is Final Fantasy, and this is why people liked it. And I think that the best example of that is that the best studio in the world right now, which is From Software, it's in Japan.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree at all, especially throughout the last year that I've had where I've played like 90% Japanese games, and I totally 100% agree because I mean, there is an instance where this wasn't the case, and the only reason why it wasn't the case is because Japanese, like Eastern developers, not Eastern, Japanese developers got for some reason the idea that if they westernized them, the games would be better. And we got games like Quantum Theory. Do you know that game?
Yeah,
It is like a horrible Gears of War clone for anybody who doesn't know. That is just appalling. It's horrible. It's incredibly horrible. Like just search for a video and you'll find it.
yeah.
We also got Resident Evil 5 and 6 in this time. We got Final Fantasy 13. And the worst parts of all of these franchises have been during that time, which was like 2010, 2009, 2010. And the only reason was because they wanted to westernize the design and the whole philosophy. And yeah, I mean, I have nothing to complain about to your hot take at all, because any genre that I'm thinking of either it started in Japan and then got westernized, or has a better Japanese counterpart than the Western one. So I don't know. I can't fight you.
You don't have to.
You don't have to. And that is something that would happen in a Japanese narrative, by the way. In a Western narrative, we would, beat each other up, and then somebody would win, and then the other one would die, and that would be it. Okay, I'm going to go with my next one, which is, these are the ones that I'm going to go with now are not as hot in my opinion. These are just games that I think are a little overrated. However, here it goes. I think the game Inside by Playdead Games, I think it's their name, who are the makers of Limbo. Limbo I loved. Inside, I was like, okay, this game is getting tens everywhere. I have to play this because I love 2D side scrollers. I love what these guys do. Limbo, blah, 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 blah. And then I played it and I was like, okay, this is it?
I think you're just insane. Like, it's not a hot take. This is like a wrong take. I finished it this year. I literally downloaded it. I was like, oh, I have this. I downloaded it, started it. 4 hours later, I finished it again. Like, it's just magnificent. I can't wait to see what they do next. Like, this was even. I thought this was better than Limbo. Like, for sure. Like, I thought it was just like a deeper game, like the topic and the way that they approached the story, that it was completely environmental narrative. I thought it was genius. The aesthetic was genius. Technically, it was beautiful. Like, what else you wanted from the game? And the ending is just like, it's different. Like, I think that's a cool thing about the game, that it just like builds a lot of momentum and then it just drops it, like, and that's it. Like, that was the game.
I think I may have to play the stupid card here, or the ignorant card, because I was just like, maybe I didn't get it. I think that's maybe what happened. But technically I do agree it's great. It looks amazing. The work that these guys do is just incredible. Like, I love them from a technical perspective. But with the ending, I was like, okay, so why is this interesting? I wasn't. I don't think I got it. Maybe that's it.
You should play it again.
Maybe I will.
You should play it again. They're gonna defend that game till the day I die.
I do have to say, I played it on the Switch, which I know was a bad choice to do, because that game suffered a little bit. And yeah, that is on me, and on Nintendo. Okay, give me your next hot take, my friend.
Most AA games are shit. They're just shit. I don't like it. It's just cringe. Like, this whole Darksiders, every single Darksider game is just cringe. Every game by Gearbox is just bad. I'm sorry. Fuck. Borderlands is horrible. It should be a AA game. I don't even know how it counts like a AAA game. I don't know. It's just like it seems like there's like an economy of games that can be sustained between $1 million and $60 million. Like, nothing grows there. Like, it just, I'm sorry, they just threw me off.
I disagree, because I think that like Focus Home Interactive, I think, is the biggest publisher of the AA games. I think they do kind of like only AA. They don't even do indies, which is funny. But like, they've brought games like Greedfall, which I think is a game that I haven't finished because it's kind of on my backlog and on that limbo there. But it has some good ideas. I appreciate what it's trying to do. And I think the most recent AA example that I can think of that I really loved was Innocent. No, what's the name? A Plague Tale: Innocence. That's the one. I think that game was pretty worth it, and it's definitely AA, because you can see that it's not really AAA in any way. However, the music is super well done. The execution of the game itself is super well done. And I don't know, I love the fact that game can exist. And I know that there are others, like, I think every game by Frictional Games has been AA, who are the guys that made Soma, and which I loved. Also, they make the Amnesia games. A lot of horror games are in this AA space, and I'm a big horror fan, so I just can't agree in this case.
I don't know,
but I respect.
I think they're genres that they're AA by nature, kind of like horror games.
Mm-hmm.
in the same way that the movies are double A by nature.
Correct.
Like the dark, short, repetitive. I don't know. I think that it's just like they turn me off. Like when I say things, and it's hard to build an IP when everything is just kind of like super double A. And I think that the example for that is Darksiders, which it's like those games were never like good enough because they were obviously under budget. I don't know. That's kind of like my take on Darksiders. Like they were like every game is a different genre kind of thing, and it was always like the lesser game. Like it was always like, okay, I could be playing Zelda, but I'm gonna play this, or I could be playing Diablo, or I'm gonna try this and that kind of thing.
I thought they were charming. I like them. I'm looking forward to the fourth one. If they make it, I don't know. But the third one was kind of the low point. Okay, my friend.
The next one is insane. Like I'm just reading it. It's like this is fake. You don't believe this. You
Okay, so
played the game. Okay, go for it.
yeah. I'm gonna explain my journey with this next game, and the game is Half-Life. So I know that Half-Life is the most influential first-person shooter, like maybe after or maybe even more than GoldenEye. I know that. Like I'm not shitting on the game because I know it contributed. I know that Ken Levine has said that the BioShock is like a copy paste of Half-Life. And because of all this that I'm saying, when the Orange Box, which is like a package that included, I think, Half-Life 1, Half-Life 2, and the episodes 1 and 2, like in one whole game, I bought it and I was like pretty excited to play it because I was like, I want to know what this is, and I want to know where everything that I love came from and got their influence. And so I played it and I was like, okay, I see what's going on, but frankly, and I'm sorry, and I'm not saying this with any pleasure, I got very bored playing that game. I don't know why. I mean, I just got bored. I don't think I even finished the whole thing. I maybe have left it in episode 1 and episode 2 or something like that.
You didn't finish the game. These games are good. The first one is just years ahead of its time related, like everything. Like it has no. It has the intro is you in a train, just seeing like the lab where you are, and you're just introduced to the technology, and then things just fucking blow up. And it's just a really good game. Like the levels are great. The a lot of the things that they're doing there, like are still used today. Even the code for the flickering lights, it's something that has permeated in the industry. And every time there are flickering lights, it's the exact same pattern
Okay.
that you have in Half Life. Um, I'm gonna defend this game with like my whole heart because the second one, it was like I think that the Half-Life games are a representation of the state of technology. Like that's just what I'm gonna say. Like the first one was like this is what computers can do. The second one was like this is what physics can do. If we like, it was like they invented physics. That's how
Yep.
that's how awesome it was. Like you could throw things around. You had a gravity gun, and before the gravity gun, everything was fucking stuck. Nothing could move, nothing could be carried, and suddenly the gravity gun was just there. It had a part where had like some type of open world scenario where you could drive like a car, which is great. And I haven't played the last one because it's basically a VR experience, but it is the first AAA VR game,
Correct.
and it has received critical acclaim.
I can't dispute any of the other things that you're saying because I know them to be true. I totally agree with what you're saying. However, in the experience, maybe 10 years ago, because that's when I played this Orange Box, I got bored. But that's just my experience. I'm not erasing any of the impact that it had because I know it did, but I'm sorry.
So
I
I
can't.
think that was like that's a thing. I don't want to be like PC Master Race, but the Orange Box was kind of like a downgrade of what the experience you could
Okay.
have back then on PC. Like it wasn't as good, and and again, like it's just did you play the second one, Half Life Two?
Yeah. I played 1, 2, episode 1, and I think that episode 2 is where I left off.
Okay, so okay, I'm thinking. Um, I don't know what to say. Like I just want you to change your mind.
Please do it now.
But I don't think I can. Like it just you just have. I would just say like play it again, but like it's not. That wouldn't be fair.
Yeah, no, I think that, I mean, what the things that I'm saying, I'm saying them with a criteria that I had 10 years ago. So this may not even be valid today. That's also something that's possible. I just would have to search how. I mean, I'm sure on Steam it's playable. Maybe on the Xbox. I would have
But you
to
can't. Do
see
you have
how.
a Mac? You have a PC?
I hope you see. Yeah.
Okay, because if you have a Mac, you can't. You cannot play them. They don't run. Mac doesn't run 32-bit games. That and
Mm.
that's a bad thing. But I would love to play them again and have fun.
Okay. I could do that maybe this holiday when I'm clearing
And
that
just
backlog.
crank everything up to like a gazillion, like high fidelity.
100%. I mean, with this, I mean, the game's so old that with this one, I should be able to do that. I hope so. Give me your last one, which I'm reading now, by the
No,
way.
I have two last ones, but
Oh, okay, okay.
one of them is not that bad. Like it's Bloodborne and it's ugly. Like it's
That is
just
bad. That is horrible. That is, it is bad.
it is a hot take. You would say
It
so.
is. It
It
is.
is.
And
It's
but
just ugly, man. It's just like just the fucking ugly. Like it's just like I'm sorry. I finished it recently.
okay.
Not recently like the last week, but like I finished it this year. And it never clicked. Like I'm sorry, like it never clicked. I was always like I'm playing like the British Dark Souls.
Yeah, well,
That's what
that's
I
true.
think. And like also like it didn't click for me as well because there was this weapon that was like this big sword that it was just I'm sorry, objectively the best weapon in the entire game.
Is that the
And
Ludwig sword, the one
that
that
one,
it is small and then turns
yeah,
big? Oh, okay.
exactly. The one that has kind of like the sieve, and then you either like hard smash it with the when it's seated, and then you basically caught when you have it in the other, and it's just better. Like it's just multi-use weapon, and it's just like massively. I just thought this is good, and then I was searching about builds, and everyone was like, "Yeah, this other builds you can have tentacles, and then there's just crazy wheel, and then, but." The sword will carry you the entire game once you pick it up. And it was like, so it didn't click that much for me as other Souls like games. But the aesthetic, I never clicked. Like, I never really understood. Like, for me, I'm sorry, the whole map's the same. Hate me all you want, but the whole map's the same.
Wow, no, I mean, I have to disagree because I think the aesthetic, like the whole gothic thing, the whole Lovecraft thing, I just thought that I think that even though Dark Souls 3 looks better by miles, because I mean it was done later, blah blah blah, I think that the Bloodborne aesthetics are more interesting than Dark Souls because Dark Souls is basically in the end a medieval game,
Yeah.
which I love, by the way. I'm a big fan. But we've seen 100 of these games. And yeah, they did it better than all of these games, probably, because it's Japanese. But we've seen this before. However, with the Gothic thing, we haven't seen that much. And however, where I do agree with you, and I don't know if you mentioned it now, is the fact that this game needs a patch. This game needs the 60 FPS.
Or a
This game,
remake, or a full
yeah,
blown remake by the people of Blue Point Games. If you're watching this,
yes,
start coding, motherfucker.
do it now.
Do it
No,
now so I can finish. Do it before Elden Ring,
yes.
if you can, because like I don't have anything to play until February, and I would really like a Souls game. I don't know. Just that's kind of like a take. Like I think it's here's where I'm like okay, here's the bar where I'm vibing with that game, and here's where people usually are. So it's like, I mean, I like it. Like it's fun. The enemies are just kind of like a next fucking level on like difficulty and it's the first aggressive Soulsborne game, and it makes it different. But just like it never was like a massive click for me. So
Okay.
I just think it's ugly. It smells like wet dog. That's how I
Well,
think
that is true.
the whole
That is,
thing. And when it goes Lovecraftian, it smells like I don't know, a fish place. Like they sell fish.
yep. Okay.
That's how I think. And in the same one, because I have another one. It's just Hollow sucks. I'm sorry. It just sucks. You might have fun with your friends playing it, but it's because you're playing with your friends. But are we am I missing something? Am I missing like a patch? Like you have like a different game with better graphics, or like I am I missing cutscenes that I'm skipping because I'm going too fast? Like I understand, kinda understand that this game was popular in 2001, but the fact that it's still popular is just like. And the best Halo game I played, you don't even play with Master Chief, is Halo Reach, and it just feels dramatically different. So I don't know. I installed the other day Halo 5, played for like 20 minutes, and it was like, what the fuck am I even doing?
No, but you can't really. I mean, Halo 5 is the worst one by a mile. So I mean that's not fair, really.
Okay.
But no, I mean I totally disagree. I
I,
think
I,
Halo.
I did have fun with Halo Reach. I have to say that I went through the campaign back in the day, and it was like, this is a good game, solid. But like the other ones, it was just like, this would be better if it was like with different writers or something. Like I don't know.
Okay, so here's my history with Halo. I'm not. I didn't have the first Xbox, so I don't have that history with Halo as much. I had the 360, and I kind of played all the games there, and I loved them. However, I didn't know how much I loved Halo until I got the Series X and I went back and played 5, which I
Hmm.
hated. But even though I hated 5, the feel of Halo, like the floatiness of the jumps, the weapons, the enemies, the way how like all the identity that has been created by games like Call of Duty and replicated 100 times, even by games like Uncharted, because we know that like Uncharted's shooting, it's kind of Call of Duty on
Yeah.
third person. That is like that's very nice. But the thing that Halo does is special. It's different. The game feels different. And the other day where I played with the guys
Hmm.
on the multiplayer beta, which just was released a couple days ago, like I don't like this game just clicks with me.
Okay.
Everything that I'm describing, like how grenades bounce off walls, like how physics based it is, as opposed to like just placement and how long I saw you before you saw me. Like I don't know, like it just has an identity that is different.
So for
And
me also, after playing Destiny, I'm like zero interested on Halo as well. Like I just feel like it's superior. But I understand that the gunplay, let's say the gunplay, it's dramatically different. Like because Destiny does have one of these things where it's like class based shooter where you get one shot if you try to challenge a certain perspective, blah blah blah. Um, but I don't know. Like it was never like my thing as well. And I don't think that the
okay,
world that they built was feeling as tasty as other places.
okay, but I think that one thing that we have to acknowledge is that if you like Destiny, or if anybody else out there likes Destiny, I think Halo walked so Destiny could run. I mean, I think
Yeah, of
that's
course.
kind of obvious. So okay,
Yeah, because you also didn't have a sprint button on Halo, so they had to walk, and then now you can sprint in Destiny.
exactly.
That's how it works.
Well, my friend, I think we've reached the end of the hot takes, but we still have
Cool.
a little bit to say regarding to what we're playing. So, unless you
Yes.
want to say anything else about
No, I'm
Halo,
good. That's all the heat
okay,
I have.
you already shit enough on Halo. It's enough. I'm kidding.
Well, it was a pleasure being here, guys. Last time I'm gonna be in this podcast.
No, I mean, as I said, I mean, maybe if I was like a hardcore Xbox guy, blah blah blah, with hundreds of years, but I mean, I'm not. I'm a half. I'm a
I,
half Xbox because I
I,
did 2 and 4. I didn't have either one or the original. So yeah. Okay, so tell me what you're playing now.
I'm playing Sekiro. Shadows die
Yes.
twice, or how I call it, shadows die a lot if they go through the wrong path and they haven't played the game before.
Correct.
From
Correct.
from software, which
Oh my
which
god.
I like this game a lot. I haven't finished it. The first time, okay, I'm gonna tell you like my story with this game.
Sure.
I've never played a from software game before, and then I bought this thing, and I started playing it, and I reached incredibly underpowered the last boss, and I just couldn't beat it. Like I was completely stuck, frustrated, hated the game, hated the experience, and then not now I'm actually playing it, like understanding what these games are, and it's completely different. It's just an incredible game. But I do have to say that it's a very different game, like from the people from software. I would say this by far has the most difficult bosses. I would say the easiest boss here is way harder than any boss in Demon Souls, for example. Like just the fucking guy with the horse and the you played it, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Just that fucker, it's harder than any boss on Demon Souls, and I think that that's the same for the rest of the list. And I would say that any boss that I'm gonna find here, like the hardest bosses of this game, are way harder than any boss in Bloodborne, because bosses in Bloodborne, some of them had weaknesses that were very obvious, and you had an ability to really scale your character in a way that you have kind of like a single strategy to kill them. Here it's just like you have to learn how to deflect, and if you're not good at that, you're probably there are some bosses that you're just gonna have a horrible time. And last but not least, I think that the way that you're supposed to, like, some idiots, they just, so many bosses, they just look the same, so you don't realize that you're very underpowered until they kill you like 10 times. And I don't think that map wise doesn't really make that much sense, and that happens a lot. And I think that's definitely, I don't think it's a design flaw, but it is kind of weird that you go back to kind of like the beginning of the game just to kill some fucker. Like it's like, like why am I doing this? And then the reason behind that in other games in Dark Souls is like you get a new weapon, and a new weapon expands the game. Here you don't really get new weapons. You unlock more levels, and then but you don't have to. You can either kill that mini boss or farm a gazillion gnomes. I don't know what the name of the little guys that give you a lot of XP. I don't remember.
Uh-huh.
Like
Yeah.
you do that, and it's the same thing that defeating a mini boss. So it's like I don't know. Well, not really, because the mini bosses give you a player beat. Anyway, I don't think it's the best design game, but I think it's like one of the most fun games from software, and it's the most accessible story wise. Like you don't have to go through an Excel sheet to understand like what the hell's
What's
going
going
on.
on?
It's just happening. So that's cool.
Yeah, no, I completely loved this game when it came out. I'm a little bit jealous that you're playing it now with PS5 because I understand it has a little like some
It's
improvements.
4K and 60 FPS. It looks great. It looks great. It's the best. By the way, this is the best looking from software game ever released by a mile. It's just better. Not
Well,
better. It doesn't look better than Demon Souls, but it looks
oh
good.
yeah, I don't think this is maybe a hot take in itself, but I don't think From Software is ever gonna reach the heights of Bluepoint in terms of visual fidelity
Yeah, no, never.
because they're not really like that is actually their weakness. I don't know if you remember like the Dark Souls Blighttown fiasco. I'm glad you're enjoying it, man. That's an amazing game, and you're enjoying it in the best way possible, which is PS5. So loving it. What else do you have in your plate?
Destiny 2, I played a little bit, not that much. I played Carrion because it was on Game Pass. Didn't like it. Do you like it?
Yeah, I beat it because it was really short, and
It's
I
really
don't
short.
know. Yeah, it's like 4 or 5 hours or something like that.
I don't know. I started and I it didn't click. Like I was like the static and thing. Like I understood where it was going to, but like I was like, ugh, like it was just. I don't think it's a bad game. I think it's a great game. I mean, it seemed promising, but it was like, not into it right now. I was playing Forza, the simulation game, and I didn't like it. That one. I didn't like. I was like, I'm not into car racing. Period. Like I played for a while, so it looked good on the Xbox S, but didn't like it. I also installed Flight Simulator, but I don't even know why I did that one. I just wanted to see how it looked, and then it was like, not for me. No, definitely not for me. I'm not a simulator type of guy.
Yeah, no, I totally
And
agree.
then the last one I played, I finished this one in co-op, was Demon Souls, and I have to say, amazing game. Probably my game of the year experience. Um, it looks great. The game is amazing. The bosses are cool. It's raw. It's sometimes it's hard to explain what is going on. But that's great.
Yeah, I think though. I mean that's like the first Souls game, and where they were kind of, I think, like calibrating how cryptic they needed to be with their own systems, and it got better
Way,
as they went on.
way too cryptic.
Yeah, 100%. I don't even know how people figured it out, at like how cryptic it is, but people are geniuses in the internet.
Wikis.
Yeah. So I've been playing a couple games. I'm gonna go through them really quick because I know we were a little bit pressed on time. But I played Salt and Sanctuary, which is an indie Souls-like game. It's a 2D, so it's got a little bit of a Metroidvania vibe as well because you kind of acquire some abilities that then let you access other areas and stuff. Really, really cool. I mean, really competent. I did find that it had a lack of music that kind of bothered me. Like the boss music is the same for all the bosses in the game, and there's like 15 or 20, so it's like kind of weird. And there's also not a lot of music in the areas, so yeah, I found that like kind of lacking. But the game itself, the gameplay is really solid. They're coming up with a second one that's going to be called Salt and Sacrifice, and I've also heard from
They
the
missed the opportunity to call it Saltier and Sanctuary.
oh my god, they did. They missed that here, and they missed that in the sequel as well. So imagine that. But yeah, I hope they kind of fixed some of those things. I know that this is one of the Soulsborne or Souls-like games that's like most respected in the community, so that's why I wanted to test it out. And also the character models for humans are horrible. They're like cartoony, and I hate them. They look horrible. But I recommend the game. I think.
Did you
cool.
finish it?
Yeah, I finished it. I thought it was
Okay.
pretty solid. Then I played a game that has become I think it's one of my top 5 for this year, which is Death's Door.
Is that good?
It's really, really good. Like, if you liked games like A Link to the Past and these like 2D Zeldas, this has a feel that is original enough to have its own identity, but you kind of feel where it kind of borrows from that. The music is super amazing. Like it went straight into my video game OSTs playlist as soon as I played a couple of hours. It's not very long. It's like I don't know, like 8 hours, and it has a nice story. The art style is just super beautiful. I really, really enjoyed this game.
Cool.
And I recommend it. I truly recommend it.
I know that.
I know that it was exclusive to Xbox, but now it's coming. I think like next week to PlayStation, so you guys can play it anywhere. Then I played The Forgotten City because you recommended it.
Amazing. What do you think?
I love this game. I really, really got hooked on. And keep in mind that the time loop games are getting a little bit tired for me. Like I'm like, okay, I played Hades. I played I don't know, like I played a lot of them this year.
Deathloop.
I haven't played that one.
Okay.
But it is becoming kind of like like repetitive in itself, right? But in this case, like the way they frame the loops, like one thing that's annoying of these loops is when you have to like repeat certain things again. Here they designed it in such a cool way where if you accomplish a quest, you don't really have to do the whole thing again. There are these ways where you either
still
keep
the guy,
yeah, exactly.
You keep some of the items, and it's
exactly
really good. I liked it a lot, especially because like it's what you're saying, like it's a challenge, and there are like ways. It's really it's built in an interesting way because also like you can. It has like it changes genres at some point. At some point, there's like a little bit of action. Then there's like some philosophy. It's just very weird. And the canon ending, the last ending, is so weird that it's like, wow,
yes, it's super weird.
Going on? Let's go. It's like you were saying, like, okay, I don't know what the hell is going on, but let's do this.
Yeah, exactly. You gotta just go with it because it's so weird.
It's crazy.
But it's truly like it's truly worth it. Like I truly recommend it. It's on Game Pass right now, so play it there. It's also on everywhere else. And I a little asterisk here. It becomes very obvious very quickly that this is a Skyrim mod because of like the cringy zoom when you're talking to someone and all of that shit.
Looking straight at you. And
looking like this, and it's like, oh my god, what's happening?
And things happening in the back if you time it correctly. It's just weird.
It's super
it really
funny.
gets you thinking.
Yeah, but it's cool because if you're an OCD person like me, where what I did, like the way I played this game was, okay, I went into the city, I talked to everybody, I triggered all the quests at the same time, and then you can kind of do them all at the same time without overexerting yourself or
Yeah.
becoming overwhelmed. And I like super well designed. I'm really looking forward to what these people are going to do next.
And also the story is like it just has some really weird details, and it's like it seems like written by an archaeologist, which is also great. Like it seems like it's written by someone that actually knows what they're talking about in some extent.
100%, 100%. And if you like mythology, like Egyptian, Roman, and Greek mythology,
Yeah, pretty cool.
really, really nice. So I gave another chance to Sable, my friend. I know we talked about this game a couple of episodes ago, and we kind of wrote it off because it had some horrible frame drops and things like that. It still has some of it when there's like vegetation and stuff like that, but it's kind of a lot better. Okay. And this game, I wouldn't say it's like a top contender of anything for this year.
But it's good.
But it's good. It kind of triggered me in a way, not in the weird way. Like it triggered something in my brain that like it has the gameplay loop is all the chill parts in Breath of the Wild. Like if you have Breath of the Wild, you add a very cool art style that I really love, which is this kind of cel shaded but cool but not shitty game. And you remove the combat and you have all this exploration and all of these things. It's just a very chill game where you can just sit down, maybe put on a podcast and just like explore these lands. I do have a couple of issues where, well, I already mentioned the frame drops, which you have experienced as well. They have a map. So the reason why it has technical difficulties is because they bit off more than they could chew. I mean, these are like 4 people or 3
it's a
people.
really small team.
Exactly. And why does the map have to be so big? Because it's really empty. Like it's not like it's full of things. No, it's super empty. So it's like,
yeah, and those things are tricky, like draw distance, asset handling. It requires a lot of work as well.
Exactly. So if they would have just scaled down, I think they would have had something here, like something much better.
Easily.
But yeah, I would recommend it. Indie game, correct. And then the last thing I'm playing, which is what I'm playing right now, is The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword HD. I had a conversation with Fabio that just triggered my brain as well. We talked about this game and I just had to buy it again, even though I have my differences with Nintendo nowadays, but
it looks good.
Looks really good, man. I was a little bit afraid because of the whole, why I explained that I hate the Wii, like the 480p shit, but it looks for a game that's 10 years old and everything, and
amazing.
It looks really, really good. I really recommend it. This is a game that I think it's the most underrated Zelda game. I think everybody hated this game for some reason. I loved it at its time, and I'm loving it right now. The music is just one of the best, and I'm looking forward to, as soon as we get off this call, go out there and continue to play it.
Let me know if it's that good, because I might buy it. It's on my backlog, but I'm not 100% on board on playing like really old games. Like I don't want to have another GTA Definitive Edition.
Oh no. It's nothing like that at all.
If it still holds, you say it's good, I'll give it a try.
It still holds, but I mean, did you like that? Did you play the original one?
No, I didn't play it.
Oh, okay.
So it might be. That's why also like I might play it. Like it seems like it's cool.
Okay, I mean, then I would recommend it even more because I'm just like revisiting it. But if you've never played it, I would.
Yeah, that's what I find interesting.
The only thing is, it has motion controls, and I don't know how you feel about
those. The thing is, these games are expensive, so it's either this or Metroid. So I'm
okay. I don't know about that. I mean, they're very different.
I got you thinking.
I will tell you that there is a sale where it's not 60, it's 50 euros.
Oh my god.
Nintendo.
That's Thanksgiving for them.
Yeah, Black Friday. Yeah. Black Friday Nintendo.
Cool. Well, I'll let you know what happens.
If you want to pick it up, yeah.
After I get my ass kicked in Japan.
Mm-hmm. This is definitely a good palate cleanser for getting kicked your ass in Japan. Okay, my friends, this has been the end of our episode. We're trying to make them a little shorter, and I think we did it this time. So if you like this, please subscribe, like it, share it with your friends. I always like you to share with your grandma. Also, if you can just create a couple of extra accounts and like it and subscribe there, that would also help us a
Some
lot.
Russian bots.
Yes, if you have some friendly Russian bots in your network, please give it to them. Or maybe not. I don't know. Maybe that's weird. And yeah, we'd love to have you if you want to comment. Include your feedback in future episodes if there's something that maybe we've missed. If there's some gripes that you have with our hot takes, we would love to hear them or read them. So we will see you on the next episode of the show.
See you, everyone. Bye-bye.